Hey guys, we're back at Trey Farmer from Forgecraft Architecture's house. And I wanted to show you what he did for windows on this soon-to-be certified passive house. He's got a really interesting mix here. So first, on the front of the house, remember this is a 1914 house. He was really trying to meet the history of the neighborhood and of course the house. So it looks like he's got very traditional double hungs on the front of the house. That's true on the side of the house as well, but when you get to the back of the house, he actually collaborated with local architect Hugh Jefferson Randolph and did a really cool modern addition on the house. Now, when you think of double hung windows, you don't automatically think about passive house, because passive house has two things that I think of, which is triple pane windows, and also we want really tight sealing of those windows. And it's hard sometimes to get really super airtight on a double hung window. But when you come inside, you realize on the outside, they look like double hungs, but in fact, what you have here is two fixed windows and then casements in the center. And these windows, which again look like double hungs, these are actually totally fixed. Now, these are tri-pane. Marvin used to call these integrities, and this was their wood Ultrex windows. Now they've switched logos and they're calling this the Elevate collection. So this Integrity name is kind of going away. You won't be seeing that anymore. It'll be the Elevate, Marvin Elevate collection. But I love seeing this in a triple pane. And of course, your most efficient window is going to be fixed glass. And Trey did a great job of putting operables where he could get some good breezes. But in places like this where you may not need to open them, fix that glass. It's going to be a little less expensive. And that triple glazing that's on there is going to give you some great U factors. Now, in the back part of the house, as we transition back here, we're in the more modern addition. Check this out. He's got the Marvin Modern line. This is a brand new product. I've never used it in one of my houses. It's kind of fun. I actually, a couple years ago, got to participate in an engineering charrette that they had. I had to sign a non-disclosure, so I've never talked about it. But I was one of the original builders they talked to about what would really make a good window and how to design this window to meet some really cool architecture, but also be particularly efficient. I love what they've done here. This Marvin Modern line is an all fiberglass window. They've capped it on the inside with aluminum right here to give a really crisp look. It almost looks like a steel window. Very, very small sight lines, but in fact, great performance. Now check out these numbers on these NFRC, National Fenestration Rating Council. This sticker is going to be in every window you buy. 0.15 U factor with a really low solar heat gain coefficient. When we're in the south, we want a really low solar heat gain coefficient. We want to reject the sun's heat. So 0.22 means that approximately 80% of the sun's energy is going to get rejected. Only 20% is going to make it through. And U factor, that's your insulation. Insulation value is the inverse of this. So a 0.15, that's approximately an R7 window, which is about double what code requires in this area, which is around 0.32, I believe, is current code for Austin, Texas. This is a fantastic window. Now, interestingly enough, this house is in the pilot program for a brand new Passive House Standard 2018, which is going to be climate specific. Now, with that standard, they've loosened their standards a little bit on having a prescriptive path, meaning you must use this window or this rated window in these particular products or these insulation values. And instead, they've allowed people to do the performance path, which means that these windows, for instance, these really tall windows back here, Trey actually got these in double glaze instead of triple glaze because the energy model showed he was still making their requirements in this location. Now we're facing east here too. There's less solar gain from these because we're facing east. But look at those beautiful Marvin Modern windows. I like that a lot. Nice and tall, some beautiful glass. I think that's the one area in particular that he collaborated with Hugh Jefferson Randolph. Now come over here. We're in the master bath now, and I think this is cool. This is what formerly was called the Integrity All Ultrex. Now they're calling this the Essentials Collection. The thing I like about this is they've got black on the outside and you can get black on the inside. Now these aren't as sleek as that Marvin Modern. You've got this kind of stepped design on here, but this is a fiberglass window, so we're right outside the shower zone. There's going to be like an Ipe ledge here. No issues with water collecting on this window. If we get a little condensation or if we get some splashing on there, all fiberglass, no rot. Now this is a double pane window, so not quite as good a U factor, 0.27 on this window. But again, I think it's really cool that he was able to work with the engineers at Positive Energy and design this. Now we talked windows, let's briefly touch base on what he did for doors. Exterior doors are traditionally not very well insulated, and also a single locking mechanism means that that door is going to have a really hard time sealing well, and on a passive house you're going to have a tough time meeting air tightness standards. On the other hand, when you order a Marvin door, you've got a triple lock situation here. So we're locking here, we're also locking at the top and bottom, and we're bringing this door in against a weather stripping, so it's going to be a really well sealed door. This one doesn't have a U factor sticker on it, but my guess is this is going to be really comparable to the windows on both U factor and SHGC. Last thing, Troy has a pretty Craftsman style house, and this is his future front door. He ordered this from Provia, and this is a traditionally rated passive house product, meaning they're actually showing on their website that this would meet passive house standards. Check out the U factor on this door, 0.18, roughly an R5 front door. This is a fiberglass door that meets the Craftsman kind of style of the house, but with that U factor, it means it's super well insulated. This might even be a triple glaze window on the front side here. Guys, I'll put links to everything we talked about today, but huge kudos to Trey and the other architects that were involved on this. Hugh, I know, collaborated, and I'm sure Trey brought in some other architects at Forgecraft. Beautiful house, great design. This 100-plus-year-old house is going to be at least twice as efficient as a standard new construction house here in Austin. I think this house has at least another 100 years to go. Guys, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.